Hello everyone, and on this video we are going to build a couple of the objects using curves and surfaces. So first of all, I want to create a curtain, and I will just click with EP curve on the grid to create kind of a profile of a curtain. I will click Q, go back to my EP curve, and let's draw or model, doesn't matter how you say, another profile in the same way and approximately the same size. And I will drag one of these profiles up, and we will be able to merge these profiles, or better to say loft them, because right now we can select both of them and we can click on this command loft. You can find it on top of your shelf, and here we have a really nice smooth surface in 1 minute, and it looks pretty good to a curtain. It wouldn't be possible to model such a thing with polygons, at least it would be really hard. And I remind you that we still have these curves and the surface connected, so we will be able to adjust this surface according to our taste. Looks good to me, and as always we will need to delete history when we are sure that we like the object. Let's go to edit, and here we have our delete by type history, or we have a shortcut Alt Shift D. And I will drag lofted surface aside, and let's create one more similar object. It will be a sail for a ship. I will take my EP curve and I will make one additional profile, but I will make it a little wider, and it's going to be the medium section of a sail. And I'm also going to drag it a bit further. So in this case, it is going to be important to select the objects in a certain order, from top to the bottom, or from the bottom to the top, but not from the center. You need to define the flow by your selection. So from bottom to the top is good for now, and let's click loft one more time, and we are getting this really beautiful sail again in a matter of minutes. And the beautiful thing with the NURBS is we can create these beautiful shapes. I will, by the way, enable two-side lightnings. We can create these smooth, beautiful shapes, but we still will not be able to add some details with NURBS. So I will delete history, and as with any other NURBS surface, we will be able to convert this shape to polygons. So there are a couple of ways to do so. We can go to the Modify tab, and click convert and NURBS to polygons, or we can convert NURBS to subdiv, and after we can convert subdiv to polygons. This is actually will give us a better result. Now it looks blocky, but if you will convert it to polygons, it will be really smooth. Or you can convert it directly to polygons. This way you will have the shape you want, but topology will be quite nasty. You can see the structure is quite chaotic, too much triangles, and we will not be able to model it precisely and accurately. And you can see right now I have this polygon surface, and right now, for example, I will be able to give it a thickness with extrusion. You can just watch this. I will tell you how to do it later. We will learn how to do it later. For now, it's just kind of to show it to you what we are capable to do. So I will delete these profiles, and let's move on to the next command. For this, I will take a circle or actually I will show you one more type of a thing you can do with a loft. So with a loft we can merge circular objects similarly, and this gives us the opportunity to make beautiful handles for the cups, for example, or some kind of flowers. And if we will select our circles in a certain order from the bottom to the top, we will be able to loft this surface correctly, and we will get such a nice shape. Later we will be able to model a flower from it, for example, and again it would be really painful to model it from the polygon. So I will drag this object aside and delete these circles, and let's move to the extrusion command. We actually have two extrusions. One is for the NURBS and one is for the polygons. This one is for the NURBS. And for the curves, you can find this command on top of the shelf right here. And if I will now select an object and hit extrusions, it will give me a error. That's because we have actually different extrusion styles, and by default we will need to add one more curve. This curve will be a profile, and the second one I will add in the front view, and I will use snapping, so it will start in the world origin. With X I will snap my curve, and this one will be the path. And we can select the profile, then select the path and click on extrude. But right now we kind of get a mess, and we will need to go to the settings. We can access settings by double clicking any of these icons. And you can see we have three different styles: distance, flat, and tube. And we also have a result position. So the first style we are going to check is flat, and the result position we will set at profile. And again, we can click apply, and you can see that our profile now kind of follows our path. And if we will go to channel box and inputs for our extended surface, extruded surface, we will be able to change some settings from here. That's how I like it to do. We can actually define scale right here with selecting this parameter and dragging with middle mouse button pushed from left to right. We can make kind of a flag, I think. Again, good luck to make it with polygonal modeling. And we can rotate this flag, and here it is. So let's check other styles, and next style is distance, and it's really easy. We just define the extrude length manually right here. For example, let it be 10, and let's hit apply, and you see that it extruded down. And that's happening sometimes because our curves are actually have a normal direction baked in, so it will be really nice to specify it right now. This normal direction actually depends if you draw your curve from left to right or from right to left. And here we have a specify option, and we can select y-axis. And click apply, and this way we have our curve extruded in the right direction. I will also adjust extrude length. And here we have all of the same parameters, but the scale will work a bit differently. And rotate too. So that's just a different style of this operation, can be useful sometimes too. And I will delete the history one more time and set this object aside. So the last style we have here will work with the circles. And I will create a circle, change the style to the tube, and result position at profile. And I will click on circle, click on profile, and click on extrusion. I don't know why it didn't work right now. I will try second time. Same settings, tube, and apply, and this time it worked. And it doesn't look too good right now, but remember that we can adjust our curve because we have a history right now. And we can go to the control vertex, and we can manually adjust a couple of the points, and it will start to look better. If we will click on the extruded surface, we will also have history settings, and we will be able to rotate or scale the tip of the extrusion, and this will give us kind of this result. It looks like a wand or maybe a stick. maybe some pointy knife, and we can also convert it NURBS to subdiv, and again convert subdiv to polygons. In this way we will have kind of a nice topology, and we will be able to modify it later with modeling tools. Okay, let's move on. Actually, I want to show you one more useful command. I think this will be 3 most useful commands in the curves section, and it is going to be revolve. You can see it on top, it has an icon of a cup, and this one will help us to create different cup-like objects. Let's try to create one. So for this I will need to go to a front view, and let's try out a Bezier curve for now. First let me explain what we will need to do. This command will basically spin our curve around selected axis. So we will spin our curve around the y-axis, and this will allow us to get a cup. So let's take a Bezier curve, and I will use my X button to snap first point to the center. It is really important because first and the last point should be perfectly centered. Otherwise you will have a hole in your object. And here I'm starting to draw a profile of a cup. Here I got some kind of a bug. I don't know, sometimes it is happening, and I will just start the process again. So with the X I snap to the world origin. This one I also snap, and here I hold and drag cursor to get curvature. This is going to be some kind of an element just for beauty, for the beautiness. And here I'm starting to create a curvature of a cup. So you either click if you want a corner, or you hold and drag if you want to get some curvature. And the last point should be centered perfectly, so I use snapping again. And after I hit Q and I got this kind of a shape, I don't like it too much for now, so I will go to Control Vertex, and let's adjust couple of the points. Here I click Shift and right mouse button and transform this one to a corner. And this I will try to just spread a bit to get more even curvature. Right now actually there are too many of these points, so I will just delete the middle one with a delete button. Okay, so I think it looks a lot better for now. And now we can revolve our surface, our curve. So I will click right mouse button and go to object mode. And with the object selected, we can click on revolve, or we can go to the options, but actually by default our options is good for us. So axis is Y, sweep angle 360, and the one thing actually I want to change is segments. The more segments we will set, the more smooth surface we will get. And I will close the settings, and here is our cup. Doesn't look too bad. And if you don't like how your cup looks, you definitely can go to your Bezier curve and work on it a little bit. So as always, do not forget to delete the history, Alt-Shift-D, and later you will be able to transform this object to polygons and work on it.